Hi, it's Steph, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to bake a zucchini bread with this zucchini that I picked from my garden, and we're also going to harvest all of the veggies that are ready to be picked. For this recipe, you're going to need 2 cups of grated zucchini. So I chose the smaller of the 2 zucchinis that I had harvested. I washed it and dried it, and then I started cutting away at this blemish that I found on it. Once I removed the blemish, I went ahead and cut it into chunks that would make it easier to grate. You're going to need 2 bowls, one for your dry ingredients and one for your wet ingredients. To your dry ingredients, you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I use my whisk to combine everything and to break up the flour. In your other bowl, you're going to start grating your zucchini. And once you're done grating it, you don't want to squeeze any of the moisture out because you will need it for this recipe. You also need 3/4 cup of vegetable oil, but if I made this again, I would try to use 1/2 cup. I think it would have been sufficient. 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 3 large eggs. You then want to stir to combine and start folding in your flour a little bit at a time. You don't want to overmix your batter because it can cause your zucchini bread to be dense. Once your wet ingredients are nice and combined, you can grease your bread loaves. I used cooking spray, but you could use butter or vegetable oil. Also, in retrospect, I kind of wish that I had used parchment paper to line them because I think it would have been easier to remove the loaves from the pans once they were done baking. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and it's going to bake for 50 minutes. I tried to separate the batter as evenly as I could into the 2 loaves. But you could also bake a zucchini cake and use a bundt pan. Into the oven they go to bake. Once the 50 minutes were up, you want to check for doneness, and to do this, you just grab a toothpick or a bamboo skewer, insert it into the center, and if it comes out clean, your zucchini bread is done. I let it cool for a couple of minutes, and then I threw them on my wire rack to finish cooling, and at this point, Rocco could smell the wonderful scent of fall and cinnamon in the air, so of course he came right over. I got these done right when the kids were about to come home from school, and they could definitely smell that something was baking, and they really enjoyed this. The recipe was really simple, and I will link it down below in the description of this video. Let these get red. Welcome to my vegetable garden, or what I like to call my potager these days. We have some flowers and some veggies growing in here. The last time I came down to the veggie garden was about 4 days ago when I picked those zucchini that we just made zucchini bread with. So I knew that there was a lot that needed to be picked. So here we are with a basket full of some yellow summer squash and this new to me variety of butternut squash. It's a mini called Honey Nut. And this is a soft skinned squash that you can roast and eat the skin as well as the inside, and it is supposed to be just as sweet as a butternut. So I'm really excited to try these this year. I also got a number of cherry chocolate tomatoes. These are a delicious cherry tomato. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. And some cubanelle peppers. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick some of my slicer tomatoes. Look at these beautiful tomatoes. This one is called Buffalo Sun, and it's like striped, which is really beautiful. And then look at the size of these. Oh no! Runaway tomato. Look at the size of this. This is a Kellogg's breakfast tomato. It is huge. Probably a pound. My dahlias are finally starting to produce. With the lack of rain and the heat that we experienced this summer, I think it really did hurt the dahlias, and now they're just a little bit behind. But they're looking really beautiful, and probably in a couple more weeks it'll be full-blown dahlia season around here. But as far as the harvesting goes, my root apron is really helpful because I threw in some of the squashes and then I'd come around and I'd fill up my basket with them. And if you're looking for baskets for harvesting, I also love my roux, but baskets are also great, and I find these at the Goodwill or the thrift store. Really good place to get inexpensive and cool shaped baskets. Despite the neglect that my garden has experienced this year with the lack of rain and me not wanting to come down here as much, things are still producing, which is really exciting. It just goes to show that plants just want to grow. So I'm happy to have gotten the harvest that I got. I'm going to go ahead and put these veggies to good use. And if vegetable gardening is something that you're into, I'd like to recommend two of my friends' channels here on YouTube. There is Clive's Conundrum. It is a couple out of Canada, Jason and Colleen. They have a really fun page. They do a lot of vegetable gardening, a lot of experimenting, composting, and they also grow some flowers. So check them out. And also Rich over at Old Swede's farm. He has a beautiful large farm and garden. He has a CSA, he also keeps chickens, and he does a lot of informative videos on keeping chickens as well as his vegetable growing. So I will link both of those pages below. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, so outside, I guesstimated this thing at a pound. It's a pretty solid tomato, so let's see. Look at that. If we were on The Price is Right, I would win the Grand Showcase right now. It's the next morning, and I wanted to make an egg scramble with some of the tomatoes that I harvested, which is really delicious. You just put a little olive oil or butter in your frying pan, and you cook up your tomatoes, and then you add a couple of scrambled eggs. And then I just have some chicken bacon on the side. But a quick review on this Buffalo Sun tomato. It's actually delicious. It's really meaty, not too seedy, and will be a repeat grower for me for sure. I'll slice it so you can take a look inside. Here we go. Look at that. Nice and meaty, only a little bit of seeds. Perfect for BLT. The zucchini bread was also really delicious and perfect breakfast dessert. The recipe's really easy. Give it a try sometime. I'll link it below. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.